Welcome to the second part of owning a boat in the UK. Yes, I changed the car. I had a Saab estate. I now have a couple of cars. A car and a van. This is the four-wheel drive, and this is what is used for launching this. The van I've had for a very long time, since pretty much it was new. The reason we have the van is it's just so useful. But what the van means now is I can take the smaller boat, which we now have, and go and explore more. So now back to living with and owning a boat in the UK. What does it take? Well, let me tell you, this boat has stayed here since April. It hasn't been used. Obviously, what prompted starting this little vlog, if you like, was I'd travelled all the way to the Welsh coast. I'd had a pretty awful day and the control box had broken. It rendered the complete day absolutely useless. I was frustrated and thought, why not show what exactly it takes? Now, this is actually what went wrong with the control box. It's a very dirty cam setup. This attaches straight onto the handle of your control box. If we zoom in very close, and hopefully you can see this, it should be very easy to see that the plastic has actually fatigued and just given way. Now, when you consider that this boat will stay here all winter through freezing temperatures outside, and then we dig it out just to go off in the summer at the last minute, this is the punishment that these boats take and what we expect them to endure. And so, sadly, when we realise how these boats stay there, it is no wonder, really, that they are going to fail from time to time. Last time I was very frustrated. However, what a brilliant boat. Now, the reason it hasn't been out since April isn't just because the boat's failed. I fixed the fault with a spare part in less than an hour. It really was quite easy. And if you're going to own a boat, I would suggest you learn how to fix all the parts, because it becomes very expensive if you don't. If you get marine engineers or anyone else to do these things for you, it will cost a lot of dollars. Now, there is a difference between having a £1,900 boat and working on it yourself, and having a 30 grand boat and working on it yourself. You know, you've got to use your judgment, but for me, it works out that I know exactly how to dismantle this boat, put it together, and get it running right. And here's another thing about owning a boat in the UK. As I have just taken the cover off the boat, and this will happen no matter what time of year, wherever you are, or however you're doing it, you'll take the cover off the boat and it will start raining. However, there's very little we can do about that, so there's no point worrying about it. So the idea of actually having a quick look at the boat now is, back in 2018, so it was about February 2018, I uploaded a video to YouTube, and it was meet the new boat, this is it. Now, it's very different to what it was then. Essentially the boat is the same, but I thought, why not take you through a few little bits, and this is my opinion of how a boat should be, the minimum standard it should be if you're planning on going offshore. So for me, it starts right here. You're going to want to be driving the boat. So the boat had none of these electronics. At the very minimum, the steering wants to be good and light, and the throttle control good. The trim tilt works, the kill cord works, and everything should be serviceable in good condition. Just generally, you don't need a how-to manual to know whether you're boat is going to perform reliably or whether every time you push the throttle forward it's going to brake. I have power sockets. This here goes to a mobile phone which has Navionics charts. I wouldn't leave without it. Yes, a lot of people would put a dedicated chart plotter in. I haven't, for a very good reason, and we'll come to that in a minute. I use a mobile phone, an old mobile phone I don't use, with GPS and pre-installed Navionics on it. It works brilliantly. It charts my position, I always know where I am, and I can charge it with this, the power socket. The bilge pump at the back is operated from the helm. I have a manual one, I don't have one with a level sensor or an automatic bilge pump. I think they can cause more hassle than they're worth if you're not careful. I have got nav lights. They're very simple, port and starboard, do the job. And more importantly, the fish finder. A lot of us will want to go fishing and a fish finder is brilliant. What I actually use it for more than anything is water temperature and the depth. Having a boat this size, if you're going offshore, if you're going through bars or anything like that, really having a depth gauge at least is, for me, a minimum. It gives you so much more peace of mind. So the next thing, the reason why I really like this boat, yes, you can go fishing off the back. There are the fish holders here. But more importantly, if you're out with a family, you might not want to be just fishing. And this is an excellent lounger. You take the top out here, it's a sun lounger. This to me is brilliant on those days where the sun really is picking up and you just want to bob around. This to me is a brilliant setup. So if we then look forward and ignore the boat pole we've got just dangling there, this provides shelter. And not only that, you can sit up front if the weather just turns a little bit bad. Let's be honest, in the UK, if the weather turns bad, we're not going to be going out at all. But you've got somewhere just out of the rain or the sun indeed to just have a bit of shelter. Now, under the seat here, we've got the original battery setup. The original battery setup was just one battery straight through. The complete main battery switch to me was essential. If I needed to isolate the battery, that's what I wanted. But then I had a couple of issues with, after being out for a long time and having the electronics on, the batteries would start to go a little bit flat. I was always worried that the boat might fail. And after having a few different failures, not for any other reason than it happens, I then decided I wanted a twin battery setup. With this I can bridge both batteries together or run either one, and for me it's a no-brainer. Down here the 30-litre fuel tank fits perfectly, and up front I store another one. So, getting back to the main subject, boating in the UK, what can you expect? Well, pretty much today. The weather is unpredictable, and this is the exact reason why I have this type of boat. Because for me, an open sports boat doesn't allow me to do what I want to do. This season the weather hasn't really allowed me to do what I want to do at all. But that's not just the weather. That's family circumstance as well. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she's not really old enough yet to be out on this. However, in a moment I'll show you what I have been doing to get my daughter out on the water, and also how other people can enjoy much more successfully boating in the UK. This boat's absolutely brilliant. It is a Moorebass 17 and I cannot praise it enough. I go fishing 10 miles offshore or I lounge around in it in a bay. It is absolutely brilliant. It can be towed by an estate car, launched on the beach with a small four-wheel drive. Every time I walk up to it and look out the window at it, I smile. And that is what boating should be to everyone. Today is a new day and it's no longer raining, which is absolutely perfect. So many of you will notice when we went through the electronics on the boat, there was no chart plotter and there was no fixed VHF. Now this is for a very good reason. I use a handheld. No, it doesn't have the range, but it does have more versatility. This is the mobile phone I use with Navonics on it. This works exceptionally well. And the reason is because that boat that you've just seen isn't the only boat we use. So the reason we have the portable electronics, primarily the chart plotter, which is a mobile phone essentially, and the radio, which is a handheld, is so we can use them on this. To me, it makes sense. I won't always be able to take the big boat out, but what I can do when I can't take the big boat out is go for some adventures in this. At the moment, I've got the 2.5 horsepower Suzuki on the back. I have a range of engines depending on where I want to be going. So if I'm going to the Lake District, I'll take the 2.5 horsepower. The reason why, I can't do more than 10 miles an hour anyway, so what's the point? If I'm going to the Mersey estuary, I'll take the 6. The reason why, I can get on the plane with the 6 horsepower with this, and the tides could be quite difficult to beat. Now, that's 2 boats that we have, and this shows the dedication to boating in the UK. When we can't take the big boat, we can take this. But sometimes it won't even be appropriate to take this. And that brings me nicely onto this. This is an inflatable kayak or canoe. It weighs next to nothing, it fits in a backpack, and you can take it anywhere. You can blow it up with a foot pump, and to be honest, it's an awful lot of fun. So, back to the original question, what does it take to go boating in the UK? An awful lot of dedication for a start. So, we either have a big boat where we can go offshore, and believe me, running offshore is a fantastic experience. You get your boat launched, or you launch it yourself, you start the engine, you power off as you accelerate and watch land disappear from behind you. It is an amazing feeling of openness, and that is what boating to me is all about. But the weather is unpredictable, and so are circumstances. You cannot launch that boat everywhere. But if you still want to get on the water, and the most effective way to get on the water is with the inflatable dinghy. Now we have the inflatable dinghy, and this has to be, in my mind, the easiest way to get on the water. It pumps up in minutes, it's spacious, you can run a mile offshore with a 6 horsepower. Yes, it's not the easiest to lift, this is 47 kilograms, but it does fit in the boot of a car. And I would say it is the biggest boat you can realistically fit in the boot of a car. It is a huge amount of fun. You can take the dogs in it, you can take the kids, the wife, you can fish from it. And ultimately, it's very safe. So the final thought, all it takes is a passion for the water. Go and do it. Can you do this with your big boat? perfect fit. And this is what you can't do with the bigger boat. Roll it up, throw it in the back of the car or the van and drive home. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, because in the next videos I'll be testing the difference between the 2.5, the 4 and the 6 horsepower motors. See you next time.